So for number 2, they do not give you any angles, so there's no possible way for us to use the law of sines here. So you want to just use your law of cosines to start with. So if you set up your table, put your angles on the left and the sides opposite right across from them. When you're using your law of cosines, you want to make sure that you solve for the largest angle first. So you want to make sure that you solve for angle A here because side A is our largest side, which means angle A is going to be our largest angle. The reason you do that is because when you're doing the law of sines, if there's an obtuse angle in the triangle, the law of sines won't show it. The law of cosines will. So we want to first solve for angle A. So go ahead and fill in all the sides. So A is 14, B is 15, C is 16. And like I said, we're going to go for angle A first. So when we set this up, we're going to set it up as A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC, the cosine of A. And then just fill in what we know. We know that A is 14, so 14 squared plus equals 15 squared plus 16 squared minus 2 times 15 times 16 times the cosine of A. Now you have to be careful when you're solving this because this number right here is attached to the cosine of the angle with multiplication. So the most common mistake I see on this is students will find this number, and then subtract this number from it. You can't do it that way. So what you want to do is you want to subtract 15 squared from both sides, subtract 16 squared from both sides. So this is 196 equals 225 plus 256 minus, and then go ahead and multiply those together. This gives you 480 times the cosine of A. Okay, so you want to subtract these two numbers over to the other side. And you would get negative 285 equals negative 480 times the cosine of A. In order to isolate the cosine of A, you need to divide by negative 480. These will cancel out, and then you can just punch this in your calculator using the cosine inverse. So angle A is going to equal the cosine inverse of this fraction here, which is 285 over 480. No need to reduce it because we're just going to punch in our calculator anyways. And you get that angle A equals 53.576, so we'll make it 0.58 to go 2 decimal places. So 53.58. So now that you've solved that and now you have an angle in its opposite side, now you can switch over to the law of sines. So using our law of sines, you definitely have to use angle A and side A. So we're going to go the sine of 53.58 over 14, and then just decide what angle you'd like to solve for. We'll just go for angle B here. So sine of B over 15, and then just cross multiply. And then divide both sides by 14. And then you're just going to punch this in your calculator. You're going to do sine inverse of this whole side here. And you get 59.560. So we'll go 59.56. And that is angle B. And then we need angle C. So all you're going to do is you're going to subtract the 2 that you found from 180. 66.86. Okay, and then like I said on the last problem, you just want to kind of scan this and make sure that everything makes sense. So the largest angle should be across from the largest side. So our largest side here is 16, and this is our largest angle. Smallest angle is our 53. Here's our smallest side, so this definitely makes sense. There's your solution.